revolutionize the ordinary person's understanding of the laws that govern the universe. It really would. In Newton's time, it was possible for an educated person to have a grasp of the whole of human knowledge, at least in outline. But since then, the pace of the development of science has made this impossible. It is a lot. Um, it is a lot more. Where did you go? Who? It is a lot more complicated nowadays. Particle physics, all of the details, it's very complicated. So, but since then, the pace of the development of science has made this impossible because theories are always being changed to account for new observations. They're never properly digested and or simplified so that ordinary people can understand them. You have to be a specialist, and even then, you can only hope to have a proper grasp of a small portion of the scientific theories. So this is a good point that Stephen Hawking is making here in his book, A Brief History of Time, which is that it used to be that we knew kind of a smaller amount of physics in the past, say during Newton's time, and you could kind of know everything that was known about physics in a nutshell more easily. Nowadays, there's just so much more complications, complexities. You would have to be a specialist to really understand a certain topic, and you would definitely probably not get around to understanding all of the different topics. But if you found a grand unification theory, sort of a theory of everything, you could maybe just learn that. Now, I think that we're learning here that that would be very complicated in itself, but it might actually make something like there's some we can at least wish for something a bit more digestible for people to kind of just digest that this is it. This is the all of human knowledge that I need to know about in physics, if they could digest the theory of everything, right? So only a few people can keep up with the rapidly advancing frontier of knowledge, and they have to devote their whole time to it and specialize in a small area. The rest of the population has little idea of the advances that are being made or the excitement that they're generating. 70 years ago, if Eddington is to be believed, only 2 people understood the general theory of relativity. Nowadays, tens of thousands of university graduates do, and many millions of people are at least familiar with the idea. If a complete unified theory was discovered, it would only be a matter of time before it was digested and simplified in the same way. And by the way, that's why we have this channel, is to understand these topics and spread this knowledge to more people so that it's not just the experts that know the topic who are working on it, but we can all know these topics, at least be able to kind of be well versed in them and know about them and be aware of them, right? Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for liking the live. Feel free to do a super chat and feel free to stop fighting in the chat for no reason. If a complete unified theory was discovered, it would only be a matter of time before it was digested and simplified in the same way and taught in schools, at least in outline. We would then all be able to have some understanding of the laws that govern the universe and are responsible for our existence, right? Even if we do discover a complete unified theory, it would not mean that we would be able to predict events in general for 2 reasons. The first is the limitation that the uncertainty principle of quantum mechanics sets on our powers of prediction. We can't know things for sure because of quantum mechanics and uncertainty principle. Next is there is nothing we can, so there's nothing we can do about that. In practice, however, this first limitation is less restrictive than the second one. So the next thing is it arises from the fact that we could not solve the equations of the theory exactly except in very simple situations. We cannot even solve exactly for the motion of 3 bodies in Newton's theory of gravity, and the difficulty increases with the number of bodies and the complexity of the theory. We already know the laws that govern the behavior of matter under all but the most extreme conditions. In particular, we know the basic laws that underlie all of chemistry and biology, I guess. Yet, we have certainly not reduced these subjects to the status of solved problems. So it's